Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Jim Dre Westbrook, Worth the Wait Guy here, and you're now watching episode 8 of Exposed Worth the Wait Guy Chronicles. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about the real world. So, the real world, the meaning behind that is more or less of where Tasha and I were at within our relationship. On the last one that I talked about her being my lucky charm, she's basically my homie, lover, friend. I finally get Tasha. Things are going great. But what happens when we see the real world and when we experience the real world is that we see real things. We face real problems. We face real issues. And it just gets real. Not to say that your relationship when you were in undergrad wasn't, but I think for anybody that's been able to go to college and graduate and enter the real world, you start seeing different things. You start seeing reality. Like there's no more student housing. You got to pay all your bills. You know what I mean? Like there are just different things you have to deal with when you become an adult. Versus you being a college student. So that's kind of where Tasha and myself are at within this chapter. So I wanted to talk to you guys about when things get real, when you enter that real world. So for me at that time, I graduated from the University of Michigan. I entered the workforce, and I'm still on campus. I'm working as an admissions counselor at our undergrad admissions office. And it's funny because that wasn't part of my plan. Like when I graduated from the University of Michigan, my original plan was to work for an upstart sports agency. To make a long story short, happen. That didn't happen. To make a long story short, y'all, it didn't happen. So your boy kind of had to scramble for a job, and that's the job that I found. I didn't really trip about this because, as you guys know about me, live at your own pace was my mission, was part of my purpose. So because I was always hustling and grinding with my business partner, Dre, it was all good. Like, so I just needed something to basically pay the bills because I knew where my passion was. I knew where my heart was, and it was in living at your own pace. It still is, 13 years later. So for me, it was like, let me just work. Let me get my adulting on and just take care of business. So I had that going on for myself, which I was pretty good at it. I loved doing the student tours. It was pretty cool, telling people about not live at your own pace, but the University of Michigan. And when I would kind of do the pep rallies for the prospects and their parents, like I really got jacked up for that. Like it was my first time actually speaking in front of people about Michigan and being able to say it my way. No one, did the script for me. I tailored it the way that I like to do it, and people seem to be pretty excited about it. So as I was coming into my own within my workforce, I still had Tasha. And this is when it got real because I was dealing with the real world as far as the reality, paying the bills, not being a student anymore, being at work, and also trying to hustle with layup at the time. But what about Tasha? Where's the time Tasha and I can spend together? So there weren't really any more meetups during classes because I wasn't taking any classes, but she still was. This was her last year of school. Uh, I wasn't really in the student union like I once was because, like I said, I'm at work, and if I even get a lunch break, I'm probably going to eat inside the office and eat with my coworkers and, do the work thing. Sometimes Tasha would have to come up to work and holler at me there, and we would just have a few minutes to hug, kiss, and that was it. So it was different, y'all, and I'm pretty sure anybody that's experienced this, you guys know what I'm talking about. So those were those real world issues and problems that we had, first world problems, but at the same time very different for somebody that is 20, 21, 22, 23. When you're dealing with that, it kind of rocks your world. It kind of, messes up that routine that you once had. And that's what Tasha and I were going through. So even though I had to pay bills and do my job, even though I had to hustle and grind and still get my dream out with live at your own pace, I had to take care of home and make sure that Tasha, was fulfilled. And as y'all all know, I ain't talking about that fulfilled, but it's just even talking to her, rapping with her. This was my friend, y'all. Like I said, we spent 8 months of just pure friendship before it was another 8 months for me to get right, you know what I mean? And I wasn't running away from her anymore. I got it. I'm doing the right thing and we're together, but at the same time, we have to, see how we're going to continue to move forward because our usual student relationship was no more. Like, I wasn't a student anymore. I was in that workforce. I was in the real world. So it was my first time just seeing, man, this is going to be hard because I have other responsibilities of just being an adult that I have to take care of. But at the same time, I need to take care of something that I think is one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life. So I have to fight for this. I have to work at it. I have to know that, yeah, this may be challenges, but at the same time, God has given me something special and I want to work at it. I want to fight for it. I want to make sure that I can keep this intact. And that's kind of my takeaway in this whole thing, is that when you are faced with something that is an issue or you feel that it's worth fighting for me, it was that relationship. I had to understand that, life is hard. I had to understand that there will be sacrifices made. And I was willing to make all of them. So if I had to take care of business at work, done. I gotta eat, y'all. You know what I mean? So I had to make sure the lights, stay on, and that I have food in the refrigerator, and that I'm able to provide for myself. But then I didn't want work to just take over my life. So I also hustled and grind. So I doubled down on that hustle, that grind, that dedication, because that kept me alive. That kept me going, so I could one day get and fulfill my purpose. But then at the same time, I had to take care of Tasha and I. I wanted to, when we did spend time together, undivided attention, where it's me and her and nothing else. So if that's, turning off the phone, that's what it is. If that's, no texting when we're around each other, that's what it was. And that's, my message to all of us is that when you have those things and life does seem like it's complicated, it's getting hard, that make the sacrifices. Make the sacrifices to make whatever you're on work. So if that's your relationship, make that sacrifice. If that's your job, make that sacrifice. Maybe if that's your hustle in the thing that makes you go, let's do it. Even your health, your family, and most importantly, that relationship with God. We're never too busy to pray. We're never too busy to worship. We're never too busy to do the things that make us whole, that make us alive. So that's my takeaway for you guys, is that I know it's tough out there. Adulting is tough. You know what I mean? Like, it takes discipline. It takes dedication. It takes a lot to just do everything that you need to do. There's a checklist. There's a certain, routine to make sure that you're taking care of your business. So within that routine, make those sacrifices. Trust me, they are worth it. They're worth every penny. They're worth fighting for everything that God has given you. And I want to make sure that you do it, because that's how you're going to win. That's how you're even going to get close to a dub at the end of the day. So fight for what's yours. Make those things a priority, and always sacrifice. Because if you slow down, if you relax, if you just observe that situation, you'll be able to make those things work. They'll be hard. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. They'll be tough. They'll be hard. But at the end of the day, once you make that sacrifice, you'll get everything that you need in your life. Cool? All right, so that's all I got for you guys on the day. Again, thank you for watching episode 8 of Exposed. I'm going to holler at y'all next week, and I want y'all to have a blessed day. Peace.